Not on the deep fat fried channel. Unable to connect at this moment.
Oh.
Reconnecting. Okay.
Yeah, you're on Poltergeist.
That's good to know. It's good to know where you're streaming to sometimes, even if it doesn't matter. This is the one that I definitely, Poltergeist, I think would be my outside streams.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm going to do with the other one. Maybe just leave it there.
Or clips.
Pull clips from it, maybe. Hello, hello. Good afternoon. I'm about to roll up a doob. My first doob of the day.
Yeah, they're all busy today.
Been busy this week.
Yeah.
Been running around. Adult stuff. Adult stuff and family stuff. Keep you running. Praise Paul. Pamper Paul. You're not giving up weed for Lent? No. I think the weed would probably be the last thing I'd give up for Lent. So according to the tradition, it's probably the first thing I should give up. Mm-hmm. But nope.
Dude, it was funny. Like the Catholics that were in my school, they'd always like, oh, I'm giving up Twitter for Lent. And then the second Lent's over, they're back.
Isn't that the point?
You're supposed to like drop it completely, aren't you?
Well, I think that's the idea, is like live without it and see, you know,
that you don't need
that you don't need it is the idea. But what are we smoking? What are we smoking today? Blueberry Triple OG. Blueberry Triple OG. Yeah, okay. I can't really tell you much about it, other than it's good. We like our OGs.
Are you down to your last papers already? Or you still have that box down there?
No, I'm working on the raws now.
Okay. So, gotta get you more papers.
Eventually. I think I got plenty in here, though.
Forget how many come in there?
It's a 3-pack.
No. Okay. So, tomorrow for sure.
Yep. How can something be OG 3 times? Triple OG, double OG. That's gangster talk right there. If you're a triple OG, that means you were on the block before there was a gang. Family giving up doing the no meat thing. Yeah. That's a weird one for me. That's the case. Just let me know if it has a blueberry taste. It kind of smells fruity. It's got a sweet smell. I don't know if I would say blueberry, maybe. But it's definitely got like a fruitiness to it. Citrusy. Citrusy. Hello, sir. You look like my friend. Your friend must be a blindingly attractive person. Because otherwise, can't imagine me looking like them. What do you think of Donald Trump taxing us for daylight savings time? You'll have to explain that one to me. We're getting taxed for it. Is Trump really going to kill daylight savings time?
We were just joking about it yesterday.
Yep.
That all the libs would defend daylight savings if he got rid of it.
Yep. All of a sudden, it would be the worst thing he ever did if he got rid of daylight savings, even though literally uniformly everybody I know hates daylight savings and thinks it should go away. If Trump's the one to do it, it'll be a bad thing. For sure. AI gauntlet? No, I don't want to. I don't want to just sit and watch like auto-generated AI slop shit for 6 hours. No, thank you.
I mean, you already did the brain rot gauntlet. It's almost the same thing.
It may as well be. Yeah. It may as well be the same thing. Each hour we lose or gain, we have to pay 500 US. Where is this from? Where are you getting this?
Did you read a summary of a headline?
I don't know what this person has read. I don't even know if this person can read. I don't know. I guess we'll figure it out. Ooh, I will return. Yeah. Wow, what you think, D? Who doesn't love trees? Is there anybody that is like, man, I hope where I move next doesn't have any trees? You gotta love trees. Trees are wonderful. I'm the Lorax, and I speak for the trees. The commenters that keep suggesting you cut the trees down. Never. If they come to take these trees, I'll strap myself to them. I'll chain myself to these trees. You look like a Sigma? What's a Sigma? You'll have to explain what you think a Sigma is. What's a Sigma? What does a sigma do? Are you a tree hugger? I mean, I've been known to hug a tree. A sigma is a Chad like you. Oh, okay. You're right. I'm a sigma. I'm the most sigma. I'm the sigma equals gorilla. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. I'm a sigma. I thought sigma was like a lone wolf. Isn't that kind of like what people say is a sigma? Somebody that like goes it alone. A solo operative. What strain? Blueberry triple OG is what it said. Sigma Rizzler. Yeah. Smoking trees in the trees. Yeah. Push trees. Is that a cone? It is. Dew dipping movie theater popcorn. A 2 to 3 second partial dew dip. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I could handle dew dipped popcorn. I think that would just disintegrate in the dew. Can you oil up? Yeah. Bend over. I'll oil you up real good. Just like that. Is that Reggie? You can't even get Reggie where I'm at, bro. They don't even make Reggie anymore. I feel sad for you motherfuckers that still deal with Reggie. Can I be honest? I'm going to be dead ass honest with you. Dead ass. The last time I saw Reggie was when I lived in the South. I have not seen West Coast Reggie since 1998, something like that, man. And even then, like, the Cali Reggie that we used to get would probably blow pants on a lot of the fucking Reggie that you're used to smoking. So, yeah. Cheesy movie recommendations, similar to Killer Clowns or Creepshow. Killer Clowns, Creepshow. See, the Twilight Zone movie is episodic like that, or it's an anthology film. There's also Tales from the Dark Side. That's one of my favorites. I'd watch that one first. Find the early 90s Tales from the Dark Side movie. That's a good one. That's a good, like I said, anthology horror movie. Did you see that the Supreme Court effectively legalized raw sewage in our drinking water, Paul? I did not. But that's good to know. Me smoking that gas station weed. Ooh. That like K3 bullshit. Doesn't even look like weed. Yeah, good on you. I'm just smoking that fucking Grim Reaper. You know what I mean? Smoking on that killer coffer. I'm doing fine. Hope you're doing well, bud. Night of the Creeps. Yeah, I remember that one. That one's pretty good. The goofy kind of horror movies are actually pretty good. I liked Critters a lot. You ever see Critters back in the 80s? I think they made like 3 of them, and I think the first 2 are really good. Critters 1 and 2. And I think it's Critters with a K. No, it's Critters with a C. Critters was good. Ghoulies. It's another kind of like a Gremlins ripoff. Peanut butter kush. Oh. You don't want to call me names? Then don't. I'll tell you how you conduct yourself in here. You pretend that I'm right next to you, and you don't know me at all. Long as you do that, you're going to do just fine in here. Like, the only way that you get banned out of here is if you forget those rules. You have to pretend that you're sitting right here where I can put my hands on you, and you have to remember that you don't know me, so you don't know what I will do. And that's it. That's all. Bro, you are creepy. You're not pretending you're sitting right next to me. I'm trying to imagine a fucking universe where you sit down next to me and go, bro, you're creepy. That's some 100% behind the online fucking mask type of statement right there. I'm trying to imagine a fucking alternate reality where your ass says anything to me crosswise when you're standing right here. And I just can't do it. Why do men have a stitch line between their balls? Because what becomes your scrotum at a certain point in your fetal development, if you had gotten a dose of one hormone or another, would have become your labia. So those are two parts, right, that come together in a male to become a scrotum, but in a female would kind of go inward and separate to become labia. There you go. What do you mean people in the hood talk like that all the time? Not to me, they don't. Maybe they talk like that to people that they know. But you remember that people forget the second part of the rule. Talk to me like you'd talk to me if you were sitting right there. Number 2, talk to me like you don't know me, because you don't. Right? That second part really catches people up. I ain't your buddy. I ain't your friend. I ain't your pal. You don't know me. So give me the fucking respect and dignity you'd give me in public. Or get the fuck out. Seems like pretty simple rules to me, but as you can see, people have a hard time following that. Okay, then, how's it going? It's going well, man. Do you know the Beatles are? Are you asking me if I know who the Beatles are? Yes. My mom's favorite band is the Beatles. People lose all sense of civility. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, is like, for me, this is pretty akin to like talking to a person, right? That's the kind of mental state you put yourself in as a streamer. But so many people want to bring this energy that they would never fucking raise above a whisper in a dark corner somewhere. You know what I mean? But they want to act like they, I'll say some pretty out-of-pocket shit to people, but I will also say that shit to people in public. I'm never the aggressor. I'm never the guy that's going to walk up and start busting on somebody, but yeah. What do they call it with dogs? Barrier aggression. Yeah. Yeah, like a dog will like, when a dog knows that he can't get to you, he'll snarl and growl more, but as soon as you step into his world, you'll see how snarly and growly, right? It's very much right in the same wheelhouse. You're right, and I'm guilty. A lot of people are. I mean, it's not, if it wasn't a widespread issue, I wouldn't even bother bringing it up. And it's not just, my chats. I think that we really have to start working on making our interactions on the internet have a little bit more of the tone and timbre of our interactions in public. You know, there's a reason people usually don't walk up to a motherfucker and go like, "Hey, you're fat and ugly, dumb motherfucker." It's like those are fighting words in a lot of places, and it would cause like kind of a societal breakdown if you ran your mouth, right, every time you saw somebody in public. People don't do that. And it's kind of a self-policing check that I think makes society work, and it actually sets the table for a conversation, right?
Like after like the schools were shut down for COVID, there was a lot of behavioral problems when they came back because it's like a whole year and change of
Yeah.
socialization gone.
And not only that, but these kids get in the fucking habit of popping off at the mouth and saying shit and pretending shit isn't real because they're behind the thing. They're on the screen. And the longer things go on, the realer and realer this space becomes, right? And I think that there's going to have to be some point where we start treating it like it's real, to the extent that we can. Because yeah, I mean it's and like I said, it's not just me, but you know I notice it a lot because I do these streams a lot. People will say the wildest shit. You can never close your eyes and imagine somebody who isn't like a paranoid schizophrenic who's ranting and raving about everything ever saying to another human being to their face in public that they didn't know, right? Just wild shit. And they skip around the internet doing that over and over again. And the people on the receiving end of that have to just kind of like ignore it and take it, or else they're called out for being too sensitive. It's retarded. It's like a literal fantasy zone, right? That people have created in their head for what is more and more just the public space, just the public kind of speaking area, and people are treating it like it's a fucking third grade costume party, where who knows who did it.
Like, if people want to do serious organizing on the internet, all that shit's just distractions from it.
Yeah. They're not getting checked like they would. Well, that's the good thing about real life is you guys just watch. Like, as this goes on, try and keep a mental note in the back of your head. Like, how many of these people do you think would survive a day in a public area without getting jaw jacked? I'm not saying I'm going to be the guy to do it. I'm not a violent guy. But, you know,
There's a lot of people that'll do it.
You push me far enough and I'll do it. And some people don't require much of a push at all. And I feel like, you know, it's one of those things where people say violence doesn't solve problems. Well, if your problem is a person who was socialized incorrectly on the internet, getting mouthy in public, they get their teeth knocked out one time, it's probably going to be the last time they get out of pocket with somebody in public. See, like this guy, Robert States, you won't do nothing. How do you know that?
When you go up to any one pole's size, it's a losing proposition for most people.
Yeah. How do you know that? You ever been snatched up and whooped? Something tells me if you'd been snatched up and whooped, that sentence probably wouldn't come out of your mouth. I'm out of shape. How in shape do I need to be to grab a hold of you, take you down, and sit on you and pound you? I don't need to be very good. I'm in good enough shape for that. Are you in good enough shape to get out of that?
Need a water or something?
Yeah. That'd be really nice. Thanks, baby. Where do I live? Where do you live? I ain't a killer, but don't push me. Where do you live? I'll come to you. Okay? I'll come to you. Where you live? I got money. Have money, will travel. Where you live? Hamilton, Ohio. Give me a street address. I'm not going to be wandering the streets of Hamilton looking brolic. Give me a street address. Dox thyself. You want it that bad, dox thyself. Give me the full street address. Okay, I'll pull up. Oh, what were you gonna do?
I'm gonna lay down.
Oh, all right. I love you, baby.
Love you too.
What state have I live in? Do I live in the state of bliss? Yeah, we've done Ohio meetups before. We could do another one. I can't really think of a good reason other than whooping on your ass to go to Hamilton, Ohio. But we could do it. Where's that street address? Dox thyself. Hard ass motherfucker. Where's your street address? I'm not gonna just pull up on the Greyhound in Hamilton and walk around town with a bullhorn looking for your pussy ass. Tell me what door to knock on. Ass whooping. West Coast ass whooping coming for you. We got a West Coast beat down. Here for a delivery. Let's meet at a park. Let's meet at your house. I want to beat you in front of your people. Let's meet at your place. I want your people to watch you get mollywopped. You don't meet at no fucking park. The street right out in front of your fucking pad after you give me the street number. What are you scared of? Tough guy? Is that a drone? That's a Navy drone, yeah. So there's a naval base, a naval air station really, really close to me. Helicopter units, drone units, and jets. What did you walk into? I'm just giving Roberts the energy he brought to me. Came in here getting all brawlic, talking about what he could do or what I wouldn't do. And now I'm just trying to see if he'll give me his address. So far, he's given me a city and a state. That's a good start, but I'm going to need some numbers. Now, am I going to go to Robert's state and whoop his ass? No. But I'll tell you something I do know. The first guy, all right, and this is just long experience. The first guy to pipe his mouth up and say, I'm going to beat your ass, is the last guy to beat your ass. You know who actually whoops on people? The quiet ones. This is 100% the truth in my personal experience. The most dangerous guy in the room, the guy that you probably want to fucking watch yourself around the most, is the one who's the last one to ever do a physical threat. Yeah. I battered him around enough. Yeah, you guys go ahead and devour him now. I just think it's hilarious, dude. These internet flexers, you know. Everybody's a doctor, a lawyer, a political expert, and an MMA champion. You ever notice that on the internet? Everybody can just beat everybody's ass. Why are you fucking out then? Shouldn't you be locked up like all ass beaters are? People that win fights like that end up locked up. What are you doing out? How long did it take to grow my hair out? I don't know. I've had long hair for a very long time. The last haircut I had was in 2016. Like the last short haircut. I've went and had them chop off a few inches here and there to keep it from getting all scraggly, but yeah, I don't know. I would say that like from that haircut, which was I shaved my head the last time. From that kind of bald state to having long hair was probably like a year and change, maybe a little more than a year and a half before I had enough hair that like, see, I say like you have long hair when you can grab everything and pull it into a ponytail, right? So like you might have hair that's like down here, but it's still real awkward for a long time. You're gonna have like, that hair that's like this long for what feels like ever, and you just gotta not, you just gotta push through it, the best you can. But I can't really see myself chopping it off. I guess if I start going real bald up front or something, I'll chop it all off. But because I'm not gonna like be one, I'm not. I don't want to skull it. I'll just go bald. But yeah, as far as like me getting it all chopped off now, I just like it too much. I like how I look with it. I like looking. It just makes me feel good about myself. Same thing with the beard. I think I look good with it, and I think that's more important than what other people think about it. Buzz the sides. What was a weird one? I remember in the '90s, my sisters all had long hair, and there's this trend where women would like shave the back. And I always thought like, man, that's got to be gangly if you ever want to like grow it all the way out. You just got to keep it shaved back there. But they would like shave underneath their hair, I guess, to make it cooler, like cooler temperature wise. Caucasian hair grows about 1/2 inch per month. It would probably take Paul about 2 years to grow it to that long from a buzz cut. I'd say that's probably about right. I don't know. I don't know if you're right about Caucasian hair or whatever, but yeah. The back head shave thing. Yeah, I just always thought like, man, growing that out, if you decide like, ooh, I don't want that anymore, you know what I mean? But you still got long hair, like growing that out must suck. So you've just got like this drape of hair that's not the same length as everything poking through your other hairs. Yeah, that's not enough. Came back briefly. Yeah, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what you said. How am I feeling? I'm okay. Yeah, I'm okay. It's a nice day today. Was I sick? No. No, I'm fine. I feel fine. Oh yeah. I don't know. My wife had the flu really bad a couple weeks ago. What's the opinion on mullets? We're talking Patrick Swayze Roadhouse mullets. I feel like that's where the mullet belongs, is back there in the '80s with the few guys that could sport one, right? They don't build them like that anymore. They don't build people like they built them anymore. And so I just really don't think anybody should be having a mullet anymore. Yeah, the fact that it's like starting to kind of come back and people are starting to get mullets again is real disconcerting to me because, you know, I feel like it's one of those hairstyles that just belongs back there. Patrick Swayze, dude, if I tell you what, if you're Patrick Swayze, he's dead now, but let's just say you were him. I'm not, dude, I'm never going to tell you you can't have a mullet, bro, because he looked fucking amazing in a mullet, right? But just your 99% of dudes, no thanks. No mullet. Just don't do it. Well, yeah, he was ripped. He was good looking. He had that fucking like jaw that you could like, you know what I mean? Look like a fucking bucket loader. Just, you know what I mean? Facial symmetry going on. Nice smile. Big, strong jaw. Ripped. But like lean ripped. You know what I mean? Not like, but like, just like, you know what I mean? If you're that, my brother, go get you a mullet. But I'm gonna tell you right now, nobody in this room right now or anybody watching this later is that. That's like a mutant. Okay, those types of dudes, I don't know where they cook them up, but they make a very small batch. Very small. Low batch. You're talking about Sigma males? No, I'm just talking about the type of dude that can wear a mullet. Like if you have any of that, you can wear a mullet. Like if you have all of those attributes, you can sport a mullet. But that's like 99% of dudes are excluded. So the mullet should probably be something you see maybe once in a fucking year, if that. But you see them everywhere now. It's horrible. Father Time? Fuck you, kid. You little turd. Come here calling me Father Time, bro. I'm not that fucking old. God damn. What the fuck is children? I have children. Sigma. Sigma is, we were just talking about that. Sigma is like a really self-reliant lone wolf type of Chad. He's like a dude that don't need nobody. Like, not just a Chad, not just an alpha. A Sigma doesn't even need a pack. A Sigma is a lone wolf, an independent thinker, and ripped. Yeah, he's the one that like the alphas all fucking are afraid of, you know? The Sigma. Yeah. A one-man wolf pack. Yeah, yeah, yeah. My kids have no business using that term. Yeah. Probably not. Probably not. A Sigma is a sociopath. Yeah, kind of. Well, that's the thing. You can't be a lone wolf. See, so it is. Because you can't be a lone wolf in the human species. Human beings are a collective species. Like we're dependent on one another. We don't do well alone. At least small units, right? And so a Sigma is going to be somebody that doesn't give a fuck about anybody. They give a fuck about themselves. They're looking out for number one. And that could be reduced, you know, in complexity. You can call it a sociopath, right? From the edits, yeah. I'm so Sigma. You really are not. I think one of the prerequisites of being a Sigma is not having to say you're a Sigma. I don't think Sigmas have to go around and go like, what's up? I'm a Sigma. I think they just fucking like their energy hits the room and people go like, that's a Sigma. You know what I mean? So if you have to say it out loud, you're a beta at best. You might be an Omega, dude. A Zeta male? Yeah. Gotcha. That's hot. I like that. I look a good Zeta male here and there, you know. Take a puff on that weed. That shit got me floating. You're a Gen X. Damn. You're older than me, you piece of shit. You called me Father Time. I'm a Gen X millennial cusper. I was born in 1980, so I'm right on the cusp. I got 1 foot in the Gen X. I got 1 foot in the millennial. And I'm really like, I know what that is. Boom, boom. That's the MGM opening. The kids know the MGM song. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Boom boom. Bum 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 bum. Are you on your back porch, your front porch, or side yard? I'm in my back porch. '86. I remember the crap end of the '90s. Oh, I remember all the '90s, bro. The '90s were pristine, man. Tell those kids to get off your lawn. Nah, dude. It's nice that kids play outside still against stereotype. It don't bug me none that kids are out having a good time. Now, Dinor, on the other hand, he would be out here grousing about that probably. '90s were the best. Born in '94. How you didn't even fucking, dude? You were like a toddler when the '90s ended. What are you even talking about, bro? Born in '94. Like you were barely fucking what? Let's just graduate in fucking kindergarten at the end of the '90s. Like you don't know shit, bro. You didn't even see the '90s. You barely existed during the '90s, bro. You were like a walking fetus the whole '90s. Man, I came of age in the '90s, bro. I experienced the best of the '90s. The best. The early '90s, where everybody was still stuck in the '80s. We're talking cross colors and shit. I was little. Then when the '90s flourished, okay? We're talking grunge. We're talking gangster rap. Bro, I was like 15, 14, right at that fucking age. Come on, buddy. I literally was a fetus at the end of the '90s, born in '99. Yep. What's a band that's not around you wish you'd seen live? Ironically, Live. You remember that band from the '90s? Yeah, that song "I Alone." That everyone liked that song. There was "I Alone," and then there was "It's Easier Not to." Oh, that's "I Alone," and then there was I can't remember what that song was called. Oh, "Rolling Thunder, Chasing the Wind" or whatever that song was. I heard that that band Live was the name of the band. Ironically, or maybe not ironically, had a killer live show. I always wanted to see them back in the '90s, and I never got the chance. They just never played at a place where I could get to it or could afford to go or whatever the fuck, you know. And so I think that would have been cool. Maybe not my most egregious, miss, but that was the first thing that came to my mind because I remember like really wanted to see live. That their album Throwing Copper is like a wall to wall bangers. Like you could just turn that album on and hit random, and it's gonna land on a banger. Which a lot of people I think don't know that about that band because they had one or two really popular songs. They had like I said, I Alone, and then there was they had a second album where they had this song called something about the dolphins crying. It was a good song. Love will lead us, all right. Love will lead us, she will lead us. Can you hear the dolphins cry? See the road rise up to meet us. Yeah. Lightning Crashes, thank you. That's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah. Great songs. My favorite, me and my friend's favorite song on that album, we would cover it a couple years later, just briefly when we were all got together and did a garage band. But there's a song on that on Throwing Copper called Shit Town. And then it's basically about living in a place where nothing ever happens. And we were from Madera, California, where nothing ever happens. And so we were no doubt inspired by that when we wrote our own hometown anthem, Grapes and More, which describes Madera pretty well. A lot of grapevines. Metallica, yeah. I mean, I've never been a big Metallica head. People fucking like get mad at me sometimes when I tell them that. Like my friend and I went and saw the Summer Sanitarium tour in like 2002, 2003, something like that. One of those years, I can't remember. And Metallica headlined that, and we watched all the other bands. So it was Mudvayne. It was not Rage. I always have trouble with their fucking name. Chester Bennington, his band, Linkin Park. Mudvayne, Linkin Park, Deftones. So Mudvayne, Linkin Park, Deftones, and Limp Bizkit. And then the headliner was Metallica. We watched all of the other bands, and then when Metallica started setting up, my friend looked over at me and he was like, dude, do you even want to stay for Metallica, or you want to just get started heading home? And I was like, fuck it, let's go. Because we had to, like a 3.5 hour drive back home. So we just left. We heard Metallica strike up their first note as we were pulling out of the parking lot, and we were like, well, this is going to be easy to get out of this parking lot. What was it like seeing Linkin Park back then? Oh my God, bro. So mosh pits were big back in the 90s. I think they're still big. I see kids moshing a lot still they do it at like rap shows and shit now, which is cool. But yeah, moshing was big. And looking at the lineup, I thought that Linkin Park was probably going to have the hardest time with the type of audience that's going to show up, because I feel like that Linkin Park leaned into the kind of hip hop stuff, and so did kind of Limp Bizkit as well. But I just felt like Linkin Park wasn't as like hard edged as some of these other bands' hits were, right? And I have to be fucking dead ass honest with you, dude. That the crowd was never rowdier that whole day than during Linkin Park's set. They had at least 3 giant pits twisting, dude. 3. And it was mayhem down on the fucking ground, dude. It was mayhem. It was a battle. And so, like, yeah, Linkin Park ripped that audience up, and they came later too. Like they played right before Limp Bizkit, so I believe the lineup was Mudvayne opened, which is a great opener. Oh my god, that you want to talk about a band that's got fucking just tons of like that good like that good metal kind of energy on stage and shit. That band was fun. Great opener, and then it went Mudvayne, Deftones, which I was a huge Deftones fan at the time. I still am, and so getting to see Chino up close and personal was just awesome. And then Linkin Park, and then Limp Bizkit, and then so they were like third in line, right? And people were fucking all the pit was already rank, dude, because people were moshing up during Mudvayne and the Deftones and shit. So, but yeah, like super duper. Was Mudvayne high intensity? Yeah. I mean, it was all pretty, but I'm just telling you, like, at no point during that day were there 3 independent giant pits. I had tickets reserved for their tour when he finally, yeah. I mean, Chester Bennington dying was pretty fucking sad. You know, I mean, obviously it goes without saying, but just another dude that, just way too fucking young. And that he would be making bangers today still. It's just like that same kind of wound. It's not the same intensity for me, but like when Kurt killed himself, you know what I mean? That sort of thing. Always, it makes me step back because I just feel like we were robbed of his later career and his aging and maturing and kind of like his sound changing and all of that wonderful stuff that would have happened, snuffed out with drugs. So I agree, Mark. Yeah, putting on a live show means a lot. You don't think he killed himself? I rode that train for a long time out of pain. But the truth of the matter is, I believe he killed himself. I just do. The conspiracy theories go way too deep. There's way too much bullshit. I just, it was a tough thing for me to come to grips with, and I think nobody of my generation wanted to believe that. But the truth of the matter is it's likely what happened. I think way more likely than some multi-layered conspiracy theory that involves a bunch of crackheads and shit. I don't think that. I don't think that's real. What do you think of Linkin Park's new singer? I'm not really. I would be lying to you if I told you I was a humongous Linkin Park fan. I liked them. But them being on the roster of that show was not what got me to go there. You know what I mean? Like, so they were one of my least favorite bands on the lineup, and that's not me dogging them. That's me being honest. In fact, that should like underscore me talking about the energy of their performance. It just blew doors on everybody else. Like, everybody else was awesome except for Limp Bizkit. That was tragic, but that's a whole nother story. Limp Bizkit was a tragedy, but yeah, everybody else was just top form, great. A Scientologist. I really don't judge people by their crazy religions and shit, but yeah, I just don't. I don't get the same energy off of her as I did Chester, and that's obvious. Like there was a Chester Bennington, and he's dead now. There's not going to be a replacement of him, male or female, right? Be like trying to find a Kurt. It's just like, who's going to step into that role? Like I've heard Post Malone cover Nirvana, and he actually covered some songs with Nirvana, so with Dave on drums and Chris Novoselic on bass, him playing lead guitar and singing, so taking the Kurt role, and it's good, but it's not Kurt. Like, I don't think Post Malone could step in and head Nirvana. You know what I mean? Yep. Yeah. I mean, it was the biggest like surprise of the day for me and my friend that went with me, was how huge the Linkin Park set was. Like how much crazy energy they had as a band, and just how like on point Chester was live, which I think is something that's kind of legendary about him, because certainly in the 90s the plague of overproduction and vocal post-processing and shit was huge, right? Maybe not full-blown auto-tune, but they had pitch assist, and they had all kinds of different tools that they could use to stretch that vocal track and put it where it needed to be. And so, it's pretty common to not really get the exact same performance out of like a rock star, you know what I mean? In with live, I swear to God, Chester sounded like almost indistinguishable. Like his vocal range was just, and his performance was just like, he was booth ready constantly with that fucking chainsaw of a voice of his. It's like he was a mutant, bro. He was just built different. Like, yeah, unquestionably like the most talented lead singer of that whole lineup, in my opinion. It's like he was able to basically reproduce his album performance, or like the energy of that, and the technical specificity of that live, which is insane. Like, like here's a band, like I saw Tool, right? Tool was great, by the way. But Tool is a great band. When you see them, you realize how much vocal production goes into putting Maynard at a level that like can harmonize or compete with the music, right? That hard driving bass and that hard military style drum and the fucking crazy guitar sound and shit. And like live, Maynard, they struggle to get Maynard loud enough, right? Like it's just there's a big difference between a Maynard live performance and a Maynard booth produced performance. And that wasn't the case with Chester Bennington. 21 Pilots, bro, I wouldn't even have walked in. Sorry, but not my thing. My dad used to say, and I say it all the time now, I wouldn't walk across the street to see that for free. I'll use that. I'll use that when there's like a band that just ain't speaking my language, or like a movie that I'm just like, you know what? People like this, but it just ain't for me, man. Have you ever played World of Warcraft? Yes. I played it when it first came out for a while, and then I went back a few times, but I was never able to never had a max level character in it. Never really felt like a character class was good enough to spend that much time with, or that I liked it enough. I was always re-rolling And the last time I checked in on WoW was a few years ago, probably like 3 or 4 years ago. And I felt like the game, they'd automated so much of it that it almost like plays itself. And it's just like, well, there's no point in doing this anymore. So, yeah, not a big WoW guy, I guess. But I am familiar with it. I have played it. I've seen Tool 6 times. Half of those Maynard was hiding in darkness. Yeah. Yeah, he was very hard to see when I was there. Any good game recommendations? What am I playing right now? I just started tinkering around with Monster Hunter Wilds. It's pretty fun. I'm having a good time with it, but I don't know how long I'll play it. I tend to kind of like get bored of Monster Hunter games before they become super long things for me. But we'll see. Been tinkering around with this game, The Bazaar. It's like a hero builder game. What else have I been fucking playing here and there? Not really much else recently. Those have been the two games that I've been a little bit of like Marvel Rivals when I'm feeling like I want to be frustrated for, an hour. Do you like Skyrim? Of course. Who didn't like Skyrim, bro? Now, my favorite, I hate to be a hipster about it, but my favorite Elder Scrolls is Morrowind, but Skyrim was good. Skyrim, in my opinion, better than, so it goes for me, Morrowind, Skyrim, Oblivion. In that order, from best to worst. So, favorite Mario game? Dude, you're going to laugh in my face, but Super Mario Brothers 2, the one that isn't even really a Super Mario game. It's like a reskin of some crazy Japanese game where you're picking shit up and charging up POW blocks and stuff. Dude, that game, I love that fucking game to this day. I love that game to this day. I'll say it again. I love that game. That's a great game. Super Mario Brothers 2 forever. They're never going to beat it. 3 is great too. I like that you get to pick different guys and they have a different thing. I like that Mario is the all-arounder. Toad is like the guy that can pick things up quicker. It's the strongest guy. Princess can hover for a couple of seconds if you hold the jump button. And Luigi's got a nice high jump arc that you can control your descent a little bit, which is nice. Peach was not the best, man. If you were really elite, okay, at Super Mario Brothers 2, you pick Luigi and you run straight through the game, solid Luigi. That's how you know that you're in the presence of a master. Okay? Because Luigi has everything you need to beat the game in one package. Luigi is he has the most precise jump in the game because you can control his ascent and descent. So his jump, you can correct his jump and make his jump very specific. The jump is, hard to master. That's why most people don't pick Luigi. But I'm telling you, Luigi is the guy. Like, once you learn the game mechanics, you learn that game, he has everything that you want. You pick Peach, you're going to find something like, oh man, I wish I had a little more height to my jump. I could get that secret. Or I could get that warp zone or whatever. You pick Mario, damn, oh dude, I just can't quite fucking get far enough with my jump. You pick fucking Toad. What the fuck did I pick Toad for? Like so I can pick vegetables quick? Why did I do that? Pick Luigi, that arc, and then you can control it. You see? You start here, and then you can go like and land right where you started. You can go right, or you can go or you can go right. It's just such a twisty, turny jump that's very specific. He's also good against CEOs. Yeah. All the CEOs, I mean bosses, were super easy to destroy with Luigi. What about Wario? Can I tell you something, dude? Wario's a punk ass bitch, and so is Waluigi. They don't exist in my world, bro. No, thank you. Wario World was legit, yeah, but when that game, by the time Wario came out, you guys got to understand, right? Video game, and I hate to have to explain this to you, and I'm not trying to dog you out. Video games used to age up, right? So when you were like 5 to 10, right? You wanted to be playing some Super Mario. That's cool. Play some Super Mario Brothers. These kids are awesome. These kids know. Wario Land on GBA was tight. Okay, so anyway, like you see, we just aged up. It's like I remember, it was Tony Hawk, like in my earlier teens, like 14. It's like Tony Hawk took over, and then everybody wanted to play NHL Hits, which is like an arcade hockey type shit. It was garbage, but like it was fun to play with a bunch of people. Um, so yeah, I mean, like, and then I really started like playing RPGs and shit at that point, and I was like, I went to Fantasyland, I was playing Ultima and all of Dems. EverQuest. That was one of my favorites. I liked EverQuest. What was the appeal of those Tony Hawk games back then? Great soundtrack. Like it was one of the first games that had like a banger of a soundtrack, and skater culture was very prevalent then. But most of my friends were skaters, and so like listening to punk music and pop rock type of music and shit was pretty dope. They had some hip hop on there too. It was very like, it just felt like that the soundtrack was made for the type of music my friends and I were into at the time, which was really cool. Yeah, ska, punk, some hip hop in there. Yeah, it was good. Why were Blockbuster rented games always OP? I don't know, man. They were though, weren't they? I do have a theory for why people miss Blockbuster. Because it's like, dude, tell me you experienced this. You're like, oh, I want to watch something, right? And so you sit down at your TV and you open up whatever fucking app you have, right? You open up your Hulu or your Netflix or whatever the fuck Disney Plus shit, right? And all of a sudden 30 minutes has gone by and you're just endlessly scrolling through shit, right? Do you know why? Okay, first of all, tell me in the chat that this happens to you, because it happens to me constantly. Like you sit down, you're like, I want to find something to watch, and then you just don't find something to watch. It's too much choice. Exactly. And people will never agree on this shit. It's too much choice. It's a glut of choice is what they call it, right? Blockbuster. Dude, that place, I don't know about your Blockbuster. My Blockbuster was big. Rows and rows of movies, right? So it's not like you're limited, but like ultimately, and I hate to say it, but like most of my Blockbuster experiences were like mom dropped me off at the Blockbuster and she's going to the grocery store, right? So I've got like maximum 45 minutes to pick out a movie or a game and decide which one I want. So when she comes and picks me up, she can get it. So it was like there was something hanging over your head like, hey, you can play around in here and look at every movie that you want and decide what you want, but ultimately mom's going to show up. You got to pull the trigger. There's no mom anymore for anybody because the app never tells you like, hey, pull the trigger, idiot. You know, the app is perfectly happy for you to sit there and scroll through it for a day. Some of the best art came from a time when resources were scarce and people had to work with what they had. I think the human mind at its best. I don't know about all that. I don't know about the constraints on the human mind. I don't know. Because that's leaning pretty close to like hard men create good times create soft men create bad times create hard men create good. That endless cyclical fucking chest thumping bullshit. Ugh. That's kind of true, though. I really don't even know. Like, what is a hard man? What's a hard man? I don't think. I think a lot of times people don't understand the difference between a conscript, right, and somebody who chose to go to war. Not that there should be a difference in terms of how they're treated. I'm just saying, like, a lot of the people that were sent over to die in horrible, horrible, tragic wars of the 20th century were soft people that probably never wanted to ever do anything like that. In fact, that was probably most of the people that died in those wars. So I really don't understand where this hard men thing comes from. It's just like this kind of like 50s that's what it's rooted in. It's rooted in this 50s ideal because in the 50s we toppled communism and we blah 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 blah, right? In the 50s it was people look back and they see the completely emotionally unexpressive, physically abusive drunk dad that goes to work and works 16 hours a day and comes home and expects his dinner made and expects his fucking house to be clean and his fucking kids to be washed and their fucking homework to be done, and he's just that stoic that's what they're talking about when they say strong men. And those men were abusive alcoholics, a lot of them. I mean, the physical punishments that parents would dole out on their children back in the 50s would land you in fucking prison today. So yeah, emotionally unavailable men that don't have an emotional life, men that don't consider other people's emotion. Just the I'm the king of the castle, and this is my brood, and I tell my retinue what to do, and I go and I punish my body and mind for 16 hours a day with a square jaw, and I come home. And sometimes I get a little whiskey drunk and slap my wife around, but I always apologize by bringing her flowers on the weekend type of dude, right? That's what That's what a lot of these like more conservative people are worshiping, that ideal. And I just don't think that that ideal allots for human experience within men. And I think that that ideal created a punishing amount of backlash in the children of it that we're still feeling the effects of today. I think yeah, I mean, it's probably something like that. It's probably something like that in Kyridos, or what is it? In Kyridios, sorry. It's probably something like selfless people create good times, selfish people create bad times. If you want to reduce it to what type of people, it is the hoarder, it is the fabulously wealthy that just becomes more, that just accumulates more out of a desire to accumulate, just the need for accumulate, right? It's that, right? Selfish people, not just men, selfish people create really bad times. Selfless people create really good times. My granddad's got some horror stories of his dad. My dad, I mean, like, it's not my story to tell, but my father's father was not a nice man. We'll just put it that way. Not a kind person at all. Kind of fits that stereotype I was just talking about, right? And certainly not somebody that I would hold up in my life as any kind of an ideal. Let's put it that way, right? But from the outside looking in, oh yeah, that's a strong man. Served in the army. You know what I mean? A lot of historians speculate that Mesopotamia is where organized society. Yeah. Now you're talking like, well, what is it? Sumer and Akkad, right? Or am I wrong about those? I think I'm right about one of them. Sumer and what was the other? Ur. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. I'm kind of fascinated by that time because it really is that period of time when like mathematics and bookkeeping, like the blueprints for modern society was written, from what we can tell, in that space and that time. So it makes it really interesting. It's also obviously like the result of widespread disagreement and speculation because there's just not a lot of written records and not a lot of artifacts remain of it. Every dollar you earn over $100 million, you'll go to funding social welfare for the populace. I think it should be more like 10. Like 10 million? $10 million a year is not enough. But I agree with you. Yeah. 100% tax on every dollar over 10 million or whatever the fuck. I think that would probably encourage a lot of people to just like artificially deflate their income to 9,999,000 every year or whatever. So you'd have to give a like a little grace zone there, right? But I totally agree. 100%. 100% agree. A wealth cap for sure. Absolutely would be obscenely helpful. Imagine if something like that were passed, the fortunes that would be appropriated. Actually, imagine the billionaires that would flee and immediately expatriate, taking all their wealth with them if they could. Yeah, good riddance, I say as well. People go like, well, what are you gonna do? Fucking, what are you gonna do if all these guys just pick up and leave? That's like standard argument. Tax them too much. What if they just move to China? What if they do? You telling me there's not some hustling Americans here that are gonna fill that gap? That'll happily be rich with the limitations? Give me a break. Like, you just weren't raised in the same country I was, I guess. Gaps in the market get filled up in here. Quick. People got an entrepreneurial spirit in this country. People love starting their own businesses. People yearn for it. They want it. You put a big gap in the economy somewhere, the question is not like, what are you going to do? The question is going to be, how long is it going to be before that gap is completely and utterly filled with some new rich entrepreneur? Let them go. As far as I'm concerned, most of those motherfuckers have been arguing against the best interests of human beings in this country for as long as I've been alive, most of them. So, fuck them all. Yeah, they can pack their bags and snatch as much wealth as they can and go to some other fucking country with it. See if they're welcomed with open arms over there with their bullshit. That ain't a threat to me. Anyway, I'm gonna go. I will see you guys later.